Welcome to the NVUSD Future in Focus podcast. How does a behaviorist work impact each and every student and staff member at a school?
We aren't just looking at behavior as a set of rules, we're looking at it as a form of communication.
Jen, what can parents and guardians do to support their students' behavioral success at home and also at school?
I think the two things that come to mind first is communication and collaboration.
How do you define your role in helping students become future ready?
Welcome to the NVUSD Future in Focus podcast, where we explore what it takes to cultivate a confident, compassionate, and adaptable graduate here in Napa Valley. I'm Dr. Rosanna Mucetti, Superintendent of the Napa Valley Unified School District.
And I'm Dr. Peter Abboud, Executive Director of Research, Data, and Assessment. In this series, we amplify student and staff voices, strengthen community connections, and spotlight strong teaching and learning across all of our schools, all through the lens of being and becoming future ready.
That's right. And today we are continuing our practitioner series where we go behind the scenes with the experts who work directly with our students every day here in NVUSD. We are so thrilled to welcome Jen Can, one of our very dedicated NVUSD behaviorists. Jen, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a cool opportunity and amazing platform. I'm really excited to be here today to share a bit about the work that we do to support our students' academic, social, and emotional growth here in NVUSD.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Jen. So to start off, many people hear the term behaviorist or behavior specialist and might have different ideas of what that means in a school setting or what it is that you do every day. How do you define your role in helping students become future ready?
When I'm looking through the lens of students being future ready, I see my role really as a coach for those essential life skills that'll help students not only when they're here at NVUSD, but beyond that. We aren't just looking at behavior as a set of rules, we're looking at it as a form of communication. When students demonstrate some unexpected behaviors, I work as a detective with their team to try to figure out what the underlying need is. And once that's established, my main job is to work with students and staff to identify, practice, and use some replacement behaviors to meet those same needs. For example, asking for help instead of running away. Asking to stand during circle time instead of having to sit in one spot. That's what I'm trying to help students through.
Well, it's amazing to hear. These are important relational skills, life skills. So it's so great to kind of even just get a window into how you're supporting our students in the classroom, because those supports are going to help them translate those skills into life outside the classroom. So Jen, people often when they hear behaviorists, they think that, oh, that's an individual maybe in the school system that's working only one-on-one with specific students. But I personally have been at sites and have witnessed your much broader impact than just individually with students. So can you help us understand that broader impact? How does a behaviorist work impact each and every student and staff member at a school?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And while I am assigned specific students that are part of my caseload, most of my work is addressing the ecosystem that surrounds the student. And a lot of times that's the classroom and the school-wide community. Sometimes that means working with a teacher to find a way to create flexible seating or options for students. It could be developing individual schedules or looking at the sequence of their classes to make sure that their days aren't too overwhelming. I also work with staff to find ways to support and help students while still fostering a sense of independence, which is so important when we think about the world outside of school. I also have led school-wide conversations to ensure consistency and safety for students, and also just making sure that every adult that the student comes into contact with understands that, like I said before, their behavior is a form of communication. So we want to make sure that we're addressing things to help students feel supported in those situations.
And I just want to really emphasize that is such a team approach. And I remember when I was working as an assistant principal, and I didn't get the joy of working with you specifically, but I've worked with behaviorists, and really getting that feedback and that input from them was always really key to helping support students. And it really takes that team effort. So thank you for that work. One of the most common questions that we get from the community is about that bridge between school and home. Jen, what can parents and guardians do to support their students' behavioral success at home and also at school?
I think the two things that come to mind first is communication and collaboration. We are one team, and students spend a big chunk of their day with us, but their families know them best. So if there's something that's working great at home, such as a specific phrase that you use when your student is getting frustrated or overwhelmed, let the teacher know. Or when there's challenges and changes at home, and some of those can seem exciting, like a new sibling or an upcoming vacation. It could be a change in a parent's work schedule. We can see big changes at school. So knowing those things ahead of time lets us know what we may need to adjust in our strategies. I personally have 2 NVUSD students at home. I have a 6th grader and a kindergartner, and I do my best to keep their teachers really in the loop of what's going on for anything that could impact them at school. One of the things that I like as a parent is our parent communication platform, which is called Parent Square. It's as simple as sending a text message to their teachers, and their teachers are able to read it and know what's going on in the moment.
All via Parent Square.
Yes.
Well, that's really important. I appreciate you emphasizing communication and collaboration. We want to make sure that we're working in partnership with our parents and families to set up our students for success. And behavioral success can directly impact academic success. So we know this communication is really, really important. So, summer's going to be approaching. So as it begins, many families are starting to look towards the next academic year. What advice do you have for parents or even the students themselves, how they can best prepare emotionally and behaviorally for a brand new school year as that we ramp up towards the fall?
Definitely. Summer's exciting, but I try to remember that even though many people are looking forward to it and might have fun and exciting plans, it can also be challenging and sometimes even really anxiety producing,
right?
Especially for kids who are moving into new schools and new grade levels. So I think it's really important that we can be happy about the break, but it's okay to be a little bit nervous about it, especially about the upcoming changes. For parents, I suggest trying to keep some sort of structure to the day. And that can be as simple as continuing to make lunches the night before or keeping a wake-up routine during the week. Those things can really help students fall into the routine of being back to school. The other thing I like to think about is some mental rehearsals, thinking through some of those new campuses and schedules. It's great. We have campus maps. So when students in the secondary levels start to get their schedule, they can look at where their classes are. Those things can really help. The other thing is thinking of goals, and they can be small, but what do you want to try to accomplish in the next year, whether it's academically or socially, trying a new sport, learning a new language. Those things really help work through that adaptability and keep your brain kind of exercising through the summer and getting ready to enter into the new school year.
Yeah, I just one quick kind of follow up, Jen, is I think it's important for our parents and families to not underestimate the impact of the schedule change, right? And I know I have adult children now, but even having children when they were younger and going through school, or even just us as adults, whenever there's a major schedule change, like the change from the set school schedule to the summer, this can be, we could see behavioral flare-ups, or we could see behavior that we haven't quite seen before. Do you just have some advice on how parents and families can kind of react to that? What should they lean into if that emerges?
I think the biggest thing is leaning into familiar routines. Okay. So like I said, even though the kids don't have to get up and go to school the next day, maybe their regular wake up time is 6 a.m., still try to get them up by 7 and give them little tasks to do throughout the day, because going from hanging out late nights, playing video games, going on vacation, getting back into the grind and the demands of school can be a lot. So if you slowly do that, it's good. And if you have a hard time with that, because we do in my house sometimes, at least 2 to 3 weeks before school starts, start really reestablishing those routines.
Great. Thank you for that advice.
Yeah. No, and that's a really great point, Dr. Mucetti. And my question was going to be similar around that, in that I know that even though sometimes students won't like to admit it, structure is really important to them. And so when we take that off completely, that can have some pretty big effects if we're not being mindful about that. So
absolutely.
Thank you for that. So Jen, before we let you go, what is one thing you wish every student in NVUSD knew about the work that you do?
The one thing that I wish they knew is that every mistake is just a learning opportunity. Sometimes I get frustrated. I get overwhelmed. I get disappointed. And those things are okay. It's okay to have those feelings. Everyone feels a variety of emotions, and it's not a bad thing. The big thing is it's an opportunity to learn how to address those feelings. So when I get mad or frustrated, I'm not going to flip the table in front of you, but I might ask for a break. I might ask to step outside for a moment, and that's okay. Sometimes I like to just walk down the hall. I might talk to a friend to check in or ask for some help. Those are things that I do as an adult. And so it's important to understand that it's okay that kids need to do that too. Sometimes we just need a fresh start, and learning these kinds of strategies can help beyond the classroom.
So encouraging our students to feel their feelings, right? But then also teaching them the skills on how to navigate those feelings, right? Is absolutely critical. And I've seen you at work at our schools, Jen, and I know that you're definitely giving a lot of our teachers support on how to do that in the classroom, and then seeing you work directly with students as well. So it's really fantastic. Jen, thank you for the heart and expertise that you bring to our district. Not all districts have highly skilled behaviorists like you, so I feel incredibly grateful that we have someone with your talent and skill to build our capacity in the district on how to respond to behavior and set students up for behavioral success. You truly do embody the compassionate and adaptable qualities that we want for all of our graduates.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning into this episode of our practitioner series. For more resources on how we support student behavior and wellness, visit our website at NVUSD.org and click on our Back to School page. We look forward to sharing more valuable insights with you on future episodes of the NVUSD Future in Focus podcast.
And until next time, keep being
future ready.